Hello and welcome to Grocer Pod. My name's Sean Kosednar. We have another big episode for you this week, and not just because we're eating ice cream. Category Sales Director Brady Manning and Senior Category Manager Donna Yarbrough are in the studio, and we're talking about the ice cream category, specifically the new offerings from AWG brands. Before we get to them, please remember to subscribe to Grocer Pod. Subscribing means new episodes will be downloaded for you automatically. You can find Grocer Pod on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other platform you use. Welcome, Donna and Brady.
Hey, thanks, Sean. It's good to see you today.
Thanks. Nice to see you.
Absolutely. So I understand that AWG Brands has a bunch of new ice cream offerings. What initiated that change?
Yeah, I think when we think about it, first and foremost, ice cream is a fun category, right? It continues to not only be driven by kids' indulgence inside of the item, but also the adult segment of the population and being able to enjoy those. So when we really started to look about it and we really started to focus in on kind of what our private brands assortment should look like and how it should continue to perform, it's really about private brand ice cream continues to overperform inside of what the overall ice cream market is doing. Our research really led us into indulgence being that key function in what they look through, with 50% of them, of consumers, will continue to focus in and treat themselves even in these inflationary times.
Yeah, you mentioned, indulgent categories and premium flavors before we were recording. Donna, what consists of a premium flavor or an indulgent flavor of ice cream?
Well, 57% of consumers love that indulgence, which are mix-ins into the ice cream, a higher butter fat, just a premium overall, like an ice cream shop type of ice cream when you go in. So we were wanting to bring in that ice cream shop to the home, and by using Best Choice Superior Selection, which is our premium brand for AWG, felt like that was the best place to go.
Yeah, I noticed that there were some pretty unique flavors. How did you decide which flavors to use?
I think it was really a combination, but ultimately it comes down to what the consumer's looking for. I think there's a certain segment of the population or consumer base where it's really about, there's some expectations that they have for the category. And so we wanted to ensure that we had what I'll call those base level indulgences covered off on, but then also the opportunity to continue to surprise and delight and bring some of those things that, as Donna mentioned before, that maybe they only existed inside of the ice cream shop, and give them a chance to experience those in a high quality product that was more readily available to them. Yeah,
it's interesting that you mentioned that, because until this moment, I never really put together why I wanted to go to an ice cream shop versus just go and pick up ice cream from the grocery store. Now that I think about it, the shops that I go to do have these more unique flavors that you don't find in the freezer case at the store. And so bringing those to the store might mean that, I just pick it up when I'm there instead of making a trip to an ice cream store. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Why do you think those unique flavors will differentiate AWG brands in a positive way?
For me, it's really about what the market data told us, right? And so through the extensive research and testing of all of the different products, it was determining what are those expectations and truly defining what are those expected flavors, and then how also could we surprise and delight the consumer.
Yeah, so we talked about some of the new flavors and stuff, but how has AWG Brands' offerings as a whole been changed? You mentioned a little bit about a tiered program. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
So when we're looking at our assortment, we wanted to make sure we're bringing ice cream to all of our consumers that come through our stores. So we wanted to make sure we had an economy, which is our Always Save. It's always the only brand that will now be in a squared type of item. So we have our economy, which is our Always Save. Then we come in as Best Choice, our national brand equivalent, which will bring us our mainstream flavors, your strawberries, vanillas, your chocolates, just your basic mainstream ice cream. Then we bring it all home for the indulgent consumer in our Best Choice Superior selections. Just giving every consumer an opportunity to purchase our ice cream if they like the economy or all the way to the indulgent.
Yeah, I think one of the important things to think about when we think specifically on best choice superior selections, one of the new size ranges that we entered into was really within the pints. And that's about kind of fulfilling a different consumer need state they're still wanting to indulge. Maybe they don't want the larger size, or honestly, maybe they don't want the dollar ring that comes associated with the larger size. So these pints are going to be extremely important, not only to the growth of best choice superior selection, but also to the growth of the trial of some of these newer flavor offerings. It gives them a nice way to pick up a small pint of ice cream, be able to taste test some of these different ones, and ultimately figure out which sizing and flavor is right for them.
So we've talked ice cream, but I know that separate from that, there's also novelties. How have the novelties category changed inside of AWG brands?
With novelties, it was really around as we think about the last time we really kind of dug into the novelties categories and those type of things. That let's be honest, the market was different, and so some of those size ranges and those type of things were a little bit different. So this really gave us an opportunity, first off, to make sure that we had kind of those profiles and those type of things that the consumer was really looking for, but then also to make sure that we had the correct count sizes to what they were expecting to those national brand equivalent items.
Makes a lot of sense. I think I hear something outside. Is that the ice cream man? Let's eat some ice cream. All right, so first up, we're trying a new sea salt espresso caramel. I'm going to be the first to say, I'm not usually a coffee fan. I don't drink coffee in the morning, and this doesn't have the normal things that I don't like about coffee. Like it doesn't have that bitter flavor, and this is an ice cream that I would eat.
Yeah, I think it's important when you first look at it. I mean, when you really kind of spoon out kind of that first spoonful, Sean, I think a couple of real key things to kind of call into it is one is just the color and kind of the creaminess of the actual product. You'll notice kind of that tan color kind of bringing in those espresso notes. The other thing that you're really going to see inside of this entire line, but especially in these, is what we'll consider to be those larger inclusions, right? And when we mean inclusions, just think of the added pieces of things. So versus our previous formulations of these products, you would have maybe noticed either smaller pieces or less infrequent pieces. But this one, I think you're right, that I really get that strong kind of espresso flavor. And then I think what you're tasting, Sean, is kind of that creaminess and that sweetness coming from the additional caramel flavor that's added.
Does this line have a higher percentage of butterfat in it than the other ice creams?
Yes, it has a 12% butterfat.
And you can definitely tell it is a much smoother, creamier product. So this next one is Turtle Sundae Ice Cream. Donna, what do you think of it?
It's very creamy. It has a lot of the caramel that you're imagining when you're eating like the turtle candy. So you're tasting the caramel, you're tasting a little bit of pecan, you're tasting the chocolates. It's just very creamy, very tasteful ice cream.
And it has actual like turtles in it, like little
the turtle,
like chocolate covered caramels in it. I was expecting just chocolate and caramel in there, but actual like we were saying on the other one, actual inclusions of caramel turtles. All right, next up we have cherry chocolate chunk. Brady, as we've been saying, like lots of cherries and chocolate chunks in this.
Yeah, just a moment. I got a mouthful of ice cream. Excuse me, Sean. But this is one of my favorite ones, and I think you hit the nail on the head, right? The amount of cherry that you're really getting in every bite, the amount of the additional inclusions of the chocolate really kind of give it that nice balance where it really does kind of it's pop, and it's everything you'd expect from a cherry chunk ice cream.
Yeah, for me, this is one that really feels like something that I would get at a ice cream shop. The intensity of the cherry flavor, it doesn't feel mass produced.
Right. It's got a very creamy, what you would expect when you're looking at in the candy shop, when you're looking at your different cherries and your different ice cream. You can see the chocolate, you can see the cherries. It's just a very well put together ice cream.
Next, we have Dulce de Leche ice cream, caramel ice cream. I haven't tasted it yet, but based on the caramel that's come through and some of the other ones that we've tasted, I'm expecting lots of caramel flavor.
Yeah, I think when you really start to look at it, the flavor profile of it is really designed to kind of reach across a large amount of expectations as far as within ethnicity and what they're really looking for. But you get kind of that really nice mix of kind of that caramel texture along with kind of the chocolate covered caramel cups, which I think, again, not to overuse it, but inclusions. It's what we expect to see as being kind of that dominant feature inside of that with that extended creaminess of that higher quality ice cream really shine out through this one and let the caramel and that caramel and that chocolate flavor blend together very nicely.
Next up, we have Huckleberry. Donna or Brady, why don't you let people know what Huckleberry is? It's not a flavor that you usually see.
Well, Huckleberry is more of a wild blueberry. It's has a strong blueberry taste. It's purple and it's very creamy. And from taste testing is one of everyone's favorite. It was on the top of the list as number one flavor profile.
Yeah, I think for me, Sean, this is the one that I'm most excited about overall, right? Is you think through kind of bringing truly unique offerings that don't exist outside of the marketplace. There's a lot of different chocolates, and that's where I think in a lot of the other flavor varieties, we're going to hang our hat on the quality of the ingredients, the amount of inclusions, that higher butter fat. I think within this Huckleberry, it really is one of those new things to the marketplace we're really excited about for that consumer. I think I can speak from personal experience and going to the ice cream shop with my daughter when they have this one. This is the one she gravitates towards every time. And it's really about that uniqueness, right? It's not a flavor profile that exists or is readily accessible out there in the marketplace, but we see big things on the horizon for this one for sure.
Well, and then for me, kind of like what you were saying, people know what chocolate is. People know what caramel is. You can obviously have like a more powerful flavor, have really good ingredients, but people know what it is. It's hard to do the berry and the fruit flavors well. Like that can come off as very artificial, and this doesn't taste like that at all. And I think that's what we're seeing across this line, that regardless of the flavor, it tastes very authentic.
Yeah, I think a lot of time and effort went into kind of the testing and how we evaluated these flavors, not only to get them to make sure that was the first thought and feedback was, wow, that actually tastes like it's supposed to. But then also to make sure that we were sourcing kind of the highest quality ingredients for this line that we could, and being able to pass that on to member retailers and consumers is what we're most excited about.
So Donna and Brady, as category managers, how often are you guys just sitting around eating ice cream?
I'd be honest, I could go for a few more days like today, Sean, because it's not very often that we get a chance to really sit down and sample. I think in the design phases of this project, as we really started to look through it, there was multiple rounds of testing, which surprisingly nobody complained about. So it's an added benefit of this, and knowing that we're going to be able to bring that to the consumers is kind of the real joy of this position.
So Donna, as we're wrapping up here, what do AWG member retailers need to know about the new offerings from AWG brands in the ice cream category?
Well, it's all considered a new item. So they do have a new item AMAP going on at 25% off deal. We're setting it up in planograms, both pints and scrounds. Just be ready to sell it like hotcakes.
Yeah, and I would imagine with summer coming around, it's the perfect time to be stocking a whole bunch of ice cream. Donna, Brady, thank you guys for joining me today, and not just because you brought ice cream for me to eat. So thank you. And thank you all for listening. Please remember to like and subscribe to Grocer Pod. That way you can stay up to date on all the latest things going on around AWG. And until next week, this has been Sean Kosednar for Grocer Pod.